Okay, I believe we are live now.
Okay. Make sure Miss Evans and the 3 students know that they have our congratulations. That's a nice thing. And do you have any, what's going well, Joe?
Yeah, I'd just like to share real quickly. Obviously, we've had some challenges with weather already this year. It certainly looks as though it could be interesting going into the first half of winter. Working currently with the county in terms of coordinating. So as we work into winter, basically, this last day that we had to miss school was actually the result of having some issues getting the roads done quickly enough. And in fact, we had some roads within the county that still were not hit as of this morning. So we're still trying to work out some of those details, but we're working closely with the county in terms of communication and getting those done. And hopefully we'll get bugs worked out and we won't have quite as many challenges going forward. Tomorrow could still be one of those interesting days for us.
No doubt. Anything else, Joe?
Just custodial crew working very hard to get the snow removal piece done. We've got some new people working this year to facilitate and get that accomplished. But they're working hard and working together. So far, I think we're off to a good start. And just this evening, they were spreading some salt at the elementary for the concert tonight, just as a preventative measure. So.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Moving on, we are on the agenda to share our experiences from the IASB convention highlights. You want me to begin, Joe?
Sure.
I guess what I usually enjoy each year is it's kind of neat to see the short little musical presentation to get the event started. And they're usually really, really good, and they're chosen for a reason. This year they had the violinist, and I never realized how quickly they move, and it was almost like an exercise routine as well, and they were really, really good. I also enjoyed the main speaker that we had in the morning, and IASB does a really good job of selecting speakers each year, and this year was not a disappointment, for sure. The first one was very, very motivating and did a really nice job, and you left there, and you couldn't help but feel motivated after you left his presentation or his talk. And then I attended a Friday morning session, which I've never done before, and it was pretty informative, and I brought back some things that I shared with Mr. Kramer, some ideas that we might be considering. It was nice to talk with other fellow board members, and a lot of the same complaints. On a negative side, a lot of complaints about money, which makes it that much more important, I feel, to talk to legislation to make sure that we're getting our fair share, for education, because there's definitely challenges there financially. Chris, you want to be next?
Sure. I was reiterating what you said about the keynote speaker that was first. I thought he was exceptional. Not judging the book by its cover, the way he did his whole presentation was great. So that was the best take home for me.
Well, I agree that the keynote speaker was phenomenal. I bought his t-shirt. The one session that I attended that I'd like to explore further was the developing homegrown teachers. There's a lot of programs out there that I don't think we're fully aware of that can be taken advantage of for getting people into the substitute role or from the substitute role into a teaching role. Took a lot of notes and look forward to talking through some of those opportunities.
Okay. Well, one of the sessions I attended was on budgeting, and it talked about how important it is to look at the next 5 years of your school, because The school had gotten into some trouble with some COVID money that they had to supply with teachers, and that's not a permanent funding source for them. And they had some issues to work out with the Department of Ed. And so they said it's not necessarily important just to look at years 1 and 2 of your budget, but also look at years 3, 4, and 5, and how a few little changes now can affect your budget later on. So you don't have to make so many drastic changes. They said in their experience that at the end of this school year, they're going to be closing 3 buildings because they haven't been looking far enough into the future. So that's one thing that I thought was interesting that I learned.
One I went to the afternoon session was about school mental health help. It's called Scanlon Center out of Iowa City. And Joe, if you get online, you can look that up. They will get you help, and it's free of charge because it's state funded. And I thought the state had actually given up their thing on mental health, but they must have started getting money again. And they're trying to expand from Iowa City to get, I mean, they've been in Spirit Lake, Orange City and stuff. They've been up this far northwest, so they're trying to get it to where they get a regional spot up here sometime. And all you gotta do is call them, and they'll try to help you with anything you got, Joe.
Okay.
I guess I would reiterate what several of you said. I thought actually all 3 of the kind of keynote speakers, the one at lunch, the first one, the one at lunch, then the one in the afternoon, all did a really nice job, and just gave you some good things to think about as far as communication and different personalities and where people are coming from. So.
Very good. I would have to repeat everything you've already said. There is some discussion on your Scallion Center with Iowa City. There's potentially some more changes coming with mental health within the state of Iowa. Currently, they're looking at redistricting and setting those up so they actually align with the judicial districts instead of the way they are right now. But that may be within the next year, those changes are coming down the pike. But again, a lot of focus on mental health and positive outlook and the fact that everyone's going through challenges. This is not just a hiring challenge for schools. This is for all employers. And it's nationwide, not just state of Iowa.
Another hot topic on Friday was technology talk and the potential of being hacked. And I believe it was Linmar that was there that had a representative, and I believe that school had been hacked, and their entire system was down for at least 2-3 days. So a lot of talk about that and knowing what your insurance policy covers and knowing the deductible and being prepared from that aspect. Moving on, public communication with the board. Do we have anyone, Karen? Okay. So we will move into business. And the first item is to discuss / approve request to consider change to early retirement policy 407.6. And what page of the agenda are we referring to, Joe?
Should be about page 20. Okay. And actually 19, you'll find the request from Mr. Gerald. He came to the district 2 years ago by way of Lorenz Marathon. He also is considering the possibility of retiring at the end of this year and is currently arranging discussions with IPERS. He came in, met with me, and asked whether the board would consider possibly extending that deadline another 30 days at some dollar figure. and then lower the number of years to 2. Currently, you have a 10-year, if you notice on page 20 of your packets, 10 years of complete service with the district. He has way more than 10 years total, but only more recently came here by way of Lorenz Marathon as they were reconfiguring over there.
I personally wouldn't have any problem with extending it an additional 30 days. And my personal feeling is he works for the district. Is there a possible way of changing our policy so that we have those that previously worked for Lorenz Marathon to be grandfathered in and consider them part of our district?
How many teachers is that?
To my knowledge, he may be the only one that's eligible at this time.
How many years was he at Lorenz?
That I don't remember off the top of my head.
I'm guessing it might be at least 9, because he said he's been working as a coach for at least 9. So is that
Okay.
Yeah.
Get there, but yeah, I wouldn't have brought considering the Lorenz Marathon part of it, to be honest. The way you're talking about that.
I feel like
Give it
they're
credit for that.
right. It's not the same district, but kind of is. It's a sharing arrangement.
Last month you approved, I believe it was 15,000. You could either go with that, or you've also got precedent that when you've got a later deadline of a slightly lower amount. So you've got full range if this is something you wish to consider.
Could it be done that we extend it 30 days and the possibility of grandfathering in with previous experience, and if he doesn't have the 10 years, make a lower amount? Or I guess it doesn't have to be a lower amount. Could be the same.
But yes, you could. I mean, you've got the full range.
I would have no problem with that.
Keep it at 10 years.
Yeah.
But
And then check and see if he qualifies. I don't know. Kind of close.
And then if not, bring it back another month for consideration.
yeah,
Is that what I'm hearing?
I think so.
Yep.
So we need a motion to amend that. So we're talking to include Lorenz Marathon years of service. And are we talking a lower amount to push it out?
It's up to us, I guess.
I don't think so.
I personally don't see the need. I mean, he probably would have
You don't see the
applied
need to?
already had he met the eligibility.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just make a motion to amend our policy to include, to honor Lorenz Marathon years of service for teachers interested in the policy and extending it out 1 month.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? So we have a motion made by Zach, seconded by Chris to extend our early retirement out an additional 30 days and add Lorenz Marathon years of service to the PAC years of service. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on, discuss/approve early retirement policy 413.6.
That should be page 23. Again, I was contacted by classified employees who are also considering retirement, asking if the board would consider something for them as well. What you did for the teachers was approximately half of what your high that you've previously done. If you apply that same percentage to classified, it would reduce it from 40% to 20%, which is what you'll find on page 25. And a not to exceed 5,000 instead of not to exceed 10, so that it would be comparable if this is something you wish to pursue.
Do you recall if we implemented this in the past ever?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Not at the lower rate, but
Okay.
yes, this is same policy that would have come out 2000 and I want to say it was 19 was your last year.
Okay.
2019. 2013, it was initially implemented.
Mhm.
And the deadline, according to this, would be to apply
January
would be
15th.
January the 15th.
But the board could set any date. I just used a similar window to what you had with teachers a month ago as a recommendation.
Basically, every position is hard to fill, isn't it, at this point in time?
Yes.
So this may help with that. Hopefully. Getting ahead of the game.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Chris, seconded by Zach, to approve the classified early retirement package as shown here on page, beginning on page 23, which would provide a $5,000, up to $5,000 bonus for early retirement, and the deadline being January the 15th. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next, we have to discuss / approve early graduation requests.
It'll be page 31 of your packets.
Just one request?
Just one.
He's met all the criteria, you know.
Yep, he currently attends the alternative school and he has met those requirements.
Okay. Move to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Mike, seconded by Jolene, to approve the early graduation request. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on, discuss / approve MSA for open enrollment out and LEP beyond 5 years.
So the summary of this you'll find on page 32 of your packets. A modified supplemental amount, which is what MSA stands for, can be obtained in 3 categories. One would be a increase in enrollment, which you did not have. We were down 3, I believe. You can have a request for open enroll out increase, which you do have. Preliminarily, that would be 19 additional student count. and LEP, which would be limited English proficiency instruction beyond 5 years. So the state funds up to the first 5. You are allowed to go beyond 5 for those who still require additional assistance and supports. And you've got potentially 2 there at the intermediate level. We have 0 at the intensive level. So you've got $3,155.46 for the LEP. For the increase in open enrollment, make sure I get my comma in the right place, it'd be $137,313 of additional funding. That additional funding for the special ed, the open enroll out is money in, money out, but this will help the district not to incur a deficit because they weren't here for count, but you're still going to pay that district that they open enrolled to when they came to us.
So there would be no reason to not to ask for the additional funding.
I would never advise you not to ask for supplemental state aid or modified state aid.
The motion could be made all together.
Yes.
Just need to list the dollar amounts for the 2 categories.
Correct.
I'll move to approve the open roll out at $137,313 and the LEP at $3155.26.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Chris, seconded by Zach, to request additional funds for the open enrollment out and the LEP. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on, discuss/approve board policy 502.10R1, student-to-student harassment investigation procedures.
The only change in this policy on page 33 of your packet is the inclusion or updating of your 2 principals' names. Tracy Carlson designated as the primary and the alternate for Andrea Christians. And the reality of it is, if it's in the elementary, Andrea would do it. And if it's in the high school, Tracy would be that primary investigator.
Is that kind of the recommendation to do the opposite of the building leader? It seems to have worked in the past.
Yes.
Would anyone like to make a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve student-to-student, what's it called here? Student-to-student harassment investigation procedures.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Zach, seconded by Nick to approve the student-to-student harassment investigation procedures. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving on, discuss IASB materials from last board meeting.
That's something you want to spend time on tonight, or would you, because of the weather, prefer to table that? Do you need additional copies from a month ago?
I personally would prefer to table it, keep it moving.
I agree.
I'll make a motion to table the IASB materials from last board meeting till our next board meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Zach, seconded by Jolene to table the discussion of IASB materials from the last board meeting. This is with regards to
Student representative.
potentially having a student representative to the board. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Personnel. We have one resignation, Ruth Agel, an associate. And you need a motion to approve with appreciation to the district.
Yes.
Move to approve with appreciation to district.
I'll
From the
second.
district. Oh, right, sorry.
Sounds good. We have a motion by Jolene, seconded by Chris to approve the resignation of Ruth Agel, associate with appreciation of her service to the district. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And it looks like we have two early retirement applications. Lana Pitstick, librarian, and Deb Erickson, teacher. And they would fall within the new early retirement policy with the bonuses, correct?
Correct.
Move to approve. Appreciation.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion made by Mike, seconded by Zach to approve the early retirement applications and resignations with appreciation of their service to the district. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Contracts, we have Heather Munchler, associate, middle school and high school. And we have a question mark. You still don't have a central office name for us?
We are still struggling to get the second reference checks on our last two applicants. I've asked both of them to make personalized calls. We are struggling to get that second person for both.
Okay. Maybe next meeting. Hopefully.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Chris, seconded by Zach to approve the contract for Heather Munchler, associate. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Superintendent's update.
Next month, I would like to tentatively set up a presentation as far as financial plans. That would include that 5-year projection that I believe Nick referenced earlier. If you would be interested, I'd kind of like to recommend to the district that we pay the $1,000 to join ISFIS's, which would be Larry Siegel's group, for the 5-year projection. This gives you an upgrade from the free version, basically. And then work with Larry and his group and see if we can't get them either virtually or in person to kind of talk you through some of those financial numbers so that you can kind of see where those 5-year projections are pulled from and get a little bit of an understanding as to the numbers, where they're headed, and what we've put into the system currently as far as parameters in which to do that budgeting. So that would include estimates on enrollment direction based on what we've got currently at the elementary level, coming into the system, taking a look at what's going out, and then also taking a look at what we've got for potential funding from the state projections, and with your current staffing levels, because currently about 80% of your budget is staff. I mean, that's the reality of it. But I'd like to bring them in if you're interested in doing so. I've worked with Larry in the past. He used to be with ISB as their financial person. And then a number of years back, went out on his own. With a
And
couple
Joe,
of
this is the one that you gave us a little bit of a preview of the collective bargaining.
Correct.
And you had mentioned that he comes with very high credentials and a lot of knowledge of school finance.
Correct.
I think, I mean, us three thought it seemed very
Yeah.
much worthwhile. From the snapshot we got probably, 2 months ago?
I mean, if he can't do it, we certainly can do it. Both Karen and I have been through the training and have used it. But I think there may be some value in having that external person come in and talk to you about it, who was involved in the actual writing of the program and the development of it. We know how to use it, but we didn't create it, and he did. And I think there's some value for you as a board as you're looking forward 5 years, so you can make some informed decisions, because there's going to be some challenges coming.
So he's basically put together a large spreadsheet that does projections tailored to each district.
Correct, and he's pulling in data from outside sources, and then we enter some of our own from our CA, our Certified Annual Report, that Karen does after the first of the year. So after July 1, she begins working on that. That data is then input, and then it starts cranking out numbers. And as we get to collective bargaining, if you are thinking about a certain settlement amount, that can be put in based on what we anticipate from the state, and it will start laying out exactly what direction you're headed over the next 5 years. So if you're okay with that, we'll proceed going forward, trying to get that arranged.
I don't see the harm in it. I think we're better off being proactive than reactive, and looking ahead is a good thing.
Good. Page 38 of your packet, just for information only, is the final version that was signed. We're still waiting for their version to come back to us with their signatures, but this would be the contract for counseling services with Berry Point, with Unity Point. As it sits right now, we are hoping to get our counselor in place with the district shortly after the first of the year. She's already been to the district several times and is currently shadowing someone who comes once a week to the district. I've already had one phone call from a medical provider in this area inquiring, wanting to get one of their student clients involved in this process already. So I think you're going to find that we're going to get a fair amount of use out of this individual. We're going to house them tentatively right now at central office. So they have their own office space. This will also allow them to continue the counseling services during breaks when the school district is not open, and during the summer months as well, since that building is also maintained and open. So it should give us a nice continuity from one season to the next. Excuse me. Also, to kind of touch base, I serve on the DE Superintendent Advisory Panel for the Director of the Department of Ed. We have been meeting, taking a look at Chapter 12, which are requirements for offer teach for accreditation purposes for all public schools within the state. And there are also criteria there for non-publics. While they are looking at Chapter 12 potential rewrite coming in this legislative session, they also have presented us with information on the increased risk and concerns that are existing currently for cybersecurity. So there are going to be a number of new programs coming down the pike shortly. One of those will be a statewide system allowing parents, students, and/or community members to basically provide tips to any school district within the state, no matter where you live through the state system. That would then contact the schools that are involved, because it may be more than one school involved, especially if you're talking about an urban setting. We currently have a system in place through EMC, Safe Schools, but this would be another possibility for us to take a look at. It's statewide, it's not required, and whether we're a part of it or not, we would still be available to get anything submitted through that system, because there are many school districts in the state that already have their own anonymous reporting system within the state for that purpose. We've had ours now, I think, for going on 5 years here. But that has been a major focus. And they're going to work at trying also to give some options for group purchasing in for cybersecurity as well. And that will be a statewide initiative. There are other companies out there. Mr. Trimble is working with the AEA to look at some of those other options in addition to what the state has. Right now, they're somewhat interested in a couple of the other options because of the lower price tag associated with it. But it would be a comparable type of situation. So that includes some real-time monitoring as to the code that's coming across our network and into our system, to the point where I believe they have the ability to narrow down even what country you potentially could be hacked from before there's a problem, and the ability to actually shut down a individual device if there is suspicious activity on it. So there will be more information on that coming in the coming months.
This contract for counseling services, we would be sharing this individual with how many other districts? Is it all?
It's all us,
Oh, okay.
5 days a week, all us.
Okay. Good. The more services, the better available.
That's all I've got.
You. We have our next regular meeting date set for January the 9th at 7 PM, same location. And would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Zach, seconded by Chris to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. She asked if I would take those, and I said, sure. Well, thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
We have a store.
I know, but she's.